how you doing? This is John, and welcome to John's Long Box. I'm here with Roland Man. And Roland, you have an active Kickstarter campaign coming out right now, right?
I do.
Okay, yeah. So I guess I'll start out everything with the link. So tell first. I'm getting ahead of myself because I just chugged like 3 cups of coffee. I always treat every video as if it's everybody's first time. So introduce yourself and tell us a little about what you're doing.
Sure. My name is Roland Man. I was active in the comics community very much in the 1990s when I was full-time in comics. I got my start in the late 80s with a book called Cat and Mouse, a black and white comic that ran for a couple of years, was in the top 10 black and whites as per comic shop news. And then I got hired by Malibu Comics and moved out to California. Became an editor there, where I edited Protectors, Dinosaurs Fire, X Mutants, some other things. And then the Ultraverse came along, and I then moved over to Ultraverse, where I edited approximately half the titles: Sludge, Prototype, Nightman, Strangers, those kind of things. And then I became a Marvel editor because Marvel bought the company.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man came on my paycheck for a little while. That's back when we still got paper paychecks. And then Marvel declared bankruptcy, and then shortly after that let go a whole bunch of people, and I was one of them. When that happened, I said, well, you know what? I know how to do this now, so I'm going to go and I'm going to start my own thing. And so I started Silverline, and I published about, I want to say it's 13 comics in the span of a couple of years. And I lost a lot of money. This was during Marvel declared bankruptcy.
I'm about to do the same thing in a couple of months.
I'm telling you, Marvel declared bankruptcy for a reason in the 90s, right? And so, that was, for those who know comic history, that was the time of the crash. And so I lost a lot of money. My wife said, stop doing that. And so I went back to school. I quit comics. I went back to school. Got a couple of degrees and started teaching, which is what I do today. I teach. My day job is to teach. But a few years ago, I got the itch again. I'm like, man, I like comic books. I just like the format.
It's in our blood.
I like the. That's all right. It's in my blood. I like the medium, and so I stumbled upon a website from an Indian publisher that was looking for somebody to do some adaptations of classic work. So I did an adaptation of Wizard of Oz. I did an adaptation of The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which is one of my all-time favorite books anyway. And that just, further reignited the desire. I'm like, okay, yes, I like this. That was a horrible time back then. Things have changed. There's this thing now called Kickstarter, which I hadn't heard of, right? So let me try Kickstarter. Let me make some books and try Kickstarter. And I tried my first campaign in 2014, and it failed. But I learned a lot, and I reached out to 2 of my friends who did very successful campaigns, Jimmy Palmiotti and Brian Pulido. And I said, hey, guys.
Yeah, Brian Pulido, this is like his bread and butter.
Oh man, he rocks it. And I said, well, give me some hints. What am I doing wrong?
Tell him to come on my channel. I had Jimmy Palmiotti on my channel. What a great guy he is.
Yeah, he's fantastic. Jimmy's one of the nicest.
Get Brian. Tell him to come on.
I'll put it in word for you. And so I ran a Kickstarter, and it did well. And I said, well, okay, I can do this because I didn't lose money. We didn't make a lot of money, but I didn't lose money.
My goal is, if I break even, I'm a success.
That's it. That's kind of so. What I tell people is like, look, I teach. That's my day job. It doesn't pay a lot, right? We know how the U.S. pays teachers. It doesn't pay a lot.
I was a teacher too at one point too.
But I'm not hurting, I've got a house, I have food. If you were to see my belly, that I eat okay. Yeah. I have a good insurance where I'm at. But what it does, it affords me the ability to come home at night and make comic books. And
so many of us on this independent scene, that's what we're doing. I'm a construction worker by day. I come home, I write scripts. Now
yep.
I'm coordinating between this colorist and this writer, and and looking for a guy. Now I'm finding out all the steps that I don't know, like formatting and pre-press. I didn't know those steps existed.
Yep.
So,
PDFs
but
for
I
your
wouldn't be able to
friends.
do that without a day job.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wouldn't, and that is the thing that the day job affords us
It
in
gives me
this
the
day and age.
luxury, and it
Yeah,
gives you the
yeah,
luxury of doing something that
absolutely.
you love.
Yeah, a few years ago, then after I'd done a couple of them, some of the folks that I worked with said, you should relaunch Silverline, and I'm like, that's a lot of work. I lost a lot of money. I'm not sure that I want to do it. I'm not sure that my wife would let me do it. And she's like, oh, no, you should do it. You should. I'm like, what? What? She's like, no, you should do it. She goes, you just can't lose money. I'm like, well,
Yeah, just do it right this time.
right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So the cool thing about it is my wife went all in with me. She's like, I'll do what I can. I'll help you. She does a lot of my social media,
Oh, cool.
Yep. So, because I told her, I said, well, to do it right, there's a lot of things we have to do. Barb Kalberg, who was inking who inked the Cat and Mouse series that I did, she says, well, I was a bookkeeper for 30 years too. I'm like, really? She goes, yeah. She goes, I'll keep the books. I'm like, that would be great. I don't have to do that. I can just say, here's what we, here. And so she runs all the reports when we do a Kickstarter. I run a pretty tight ship. And so we pay for the printing and shipping. And I report all that to her. And she says, okay, here's what you got to pay the creators. I'm like, cool. I like that. I don't have to do, I got a bit of a team that helps me. And so that's been pretty nice.
So you said you pay all the creators. So you're not the artist. You don't write.
I'm a writer. I write, but I don't draw.
Yeah, same with me. I can't draw to save my life.
Yeah.
So you said you were the I can't even talk. You were the editor for X Mutants. That's the comic
Yes.
that launched the career of Ron Lim.
That was volume 1. I was the editor of volume 2.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's a blast from the past. I remember.
Oh
that.
Yeah.
And
that
then you
X
went to
Mutants.
Malibu.
Yep, that X Mutants was in. I can't remember. I think that was an Eternity book, and it was all in black and white. And then when I went out to Malibu, they were doing they just launched volume 2, and volume 2 was drawn by Paul Pelletier.
That's right. Yeah.
And here's the thing that not a lot of people realize is that I didn't really find Paul. Paul kind of found me, but he was working with a little company called Alpha. They made the trip all the way. I'm from Mississippi, and they made the trip all the way down to Mississippi where I met Paul. And I said, hey, man, do you want to do a mini series with me? And so Paul did a series called Demon's Tales with me, which I you can find the reprint in all of its glorious black and white right here. But this is Malibu saw this and like, hey, we really like that guy. We're going to steal him.
Yeah.
So they hired Paul to draw X Mutants, and then of course Paul drew. I can't remember exactly how much, about a year's worth of X Mutants, and then he jumped on over to DC and has been there for years now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Amazing artist.
And you went to Malibu. Now there's another name I haven't heard.
Yeah.
Now Marvel bought Malibu, if I remember correctly, because they wanted the coloring process.
That is not true. That is
Here we go, right from the horse's mouth, there, ladies.
That is a horrible internet myth.
Well, I believe everything I hear on the internet. Anything the internet says, I believe.
Yeah. Well, if you look it up on the internet, that's exactly what you'll find. Marvel bought the Malibu for the coloring department. The short version is this. DC had been courting Malibu for about 6 months. They were doing what they call due diligence in that they sent a bunch of their accountants and lawyers and legal people. They were poking around the company. They were examining the books and how much money you guys make, blah, 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 blah. And I think they had an offer on the table. I mean, I wasn't privy to that part of it, but I think they had an offer on the table. What happened is Marvel found out. Now, you got to remember, this was just after Marvel went public. Now, Marvel wasn't always a publicly traded company, right? They were private for a long time. And so this was just after Marvel went public. And they discovered that we were on the for sale block, essentially. Well, they had just gotten a new president. So at the same time, they bought Heroes World, they bought Panini stickers, and then they bought Malibu Comics. They swooped in and said, "Hey, DC's offering you how much? We'll double that." And so the real reason they bought Malibu was to keep us away from DC, to prove to their stockholders that, hey, look, we're growing the company, right? Because look at all these purchases we've made. Now, the funny thing about it is, and a lot of people complain, oh, well, they killed Malibu. Well, if you look, the crash happened. And then what happened? They fired, Marvel fired their CEO. I don't remember what his title was, but their CEO guy. So the new guy came in there, and you know what the new guy does in corporate maneuvering, right? He goes, well, all the stuff that old guy bought, I'm going to kill. And so he went in and started axing stuff. I'm trimming the fat.
You think
we were caught up in corporate maneuvering. That's it.
You think Marvel would put out a Men in Black comic? You know what I mean? With 3 movies, it makes no sense whatsoever.
No sense at all. And I know Lowell. Lowell's a buddy of mine.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, Malibu was the company that did Men in Black. That became what, 3 or 4 movies? I lost track now.
I don't know,
and I thought that was a clever movie. Yeah. Because of the movie, I went and got the comic, and then I went and got all the Malibu comics because Nightman had a TV show.
Yeah, wasn't very good, but it had it.
And you had action figures. I had all the toys too.
Yep,
there were some pretty cool toys.
Yep. Yeah. So it was
a shame. DC would still be working with them. They'd still be. They would. What was his name? Prime. There would be a Prime comic right now if DC bought it.
That is the common held belief that even amongst most of us who were involved, is that had DC purchased, had they gone through the purchase, Malibu would still be, Malibu would still be around in some form or fashion.
In some form, yeah.
Yep. And I tend to believe that as well.
DC is an amalgamation of so many different companies,
Yeah.
They used to get their own Earth. You would have been Earth Malibu or Earth M.
Right, yeah.
Wow, I didn't realize that you've been around. So you're a trooper. You're a veteran in the comic book world.
That's right. Yeah, I've been around a long time.
So what do you got on Kickstarter? You just told me that you have a campaign, but what do you got?
I got 2 books. We're doing 2 books at a time here, and these are my Kickstarter specials. These are just my proof copies.
Okay.
And I got Switchblade number 3. This is the final. Shiny. Yep, this is the final book in this series, and then I got Cray number 2. And
they look like Malibu comics.
They're not Malibu comics, but
I know. But I'm saying they kind of remind me. I guess your aesthetics.
Probably because of the shininess, because Malibu did all those foil covers. So these are only the foil covers are only available on the Kickstarter. After our Kickstarter is over, we're going to print the books. You can still get the books, but these foil versions will not be available. You
got to get incentives to get people.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah.
And Cray is done by the artwork is done by my longtime buddy, good buddy Stephen Butler. Who did Silver Sable. He did some.
Oh yes, it looked familiar, and I didn't want to embarrass myself by guessing. I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah.
Stephen
was my roommate in college, and
oh wow.
Yeah, so that's how. Listen, I got lucky in college and met 2 super talented artists, and that's how I broke in with Cat and Mouse, was with Mitch Bird and Stephen Butler. So the artwork is fantastic. It's a Cray is a barbarian story about a young barbarian. I can't see backwards. This guy here who
do that all day. I'm pointing to the wrong things because I can't do things backwards. Yeah.
He is taken. I can't show the insides because this is just a dummy. It's not the book.
I'm a dummy too, so it's cool.
Yeah, he is taken by a tribe of mutants as a battle prize, and he is raised by a family of mutants. But his life's desire is to join the Red Guard, which is kind of the Delta Force of this fantasy world. But when he joins the Red Guard, he finds out that the High Priestess, who is in charge of the Red Guard, hates mutants and wants to see them all killed. And of course, you can see this beautiful sci-fi babe there. She's a bit of a mutant herself, and he falls in love with her.
You know, it seems like Barbarian comics are hitting the zeitgeist again. You know, I guess because you know, for a while you couldn't find a Barbarian comic anywhere, and I'm excited now because I don't know what it is. I'm getting caught in this wave.
Sweet.
I'm digging it. You know.
Nice. Well, I appreciate that. Yeah. The other book is Switchblade, and it is essentially about a guy who takes justice into his own hands, kind of like the Punisher, that kind of thing.
Oh, a non-powered guy.
Yep. He has no superpowers. But what happens, the way he is born is that not born, but you know, his
you don't have to go into graphic detail about how he was born.
Yeah.
There's 9 months before he was born, mommy and daddy.
Right. So I like to set, because I grew up in Mississippi, and I like to set my stories in New Orleans. Cat and Mouse was set in New Orleans. And so I like to set my stories in New Orleans because it's a cool city. It's got a lot of personality. This one is set in New Orleans. And what happens is a young girl is murdered and raped, but her killers and they get off on a technicality because the policeman screwed up something unintentionally. Okay. And so they get off. The justice system says, no, well, you guys messed up. You're free to go, sir. And so he tracks him down and says, nope, you're not free to go. We know you did it. Everybody knows you did it. It's 100%. We know you did it. So you're going to pay. And so that's what he does. He's Switchblade, and he is very much a local hero because he mets out the justice that sometimes the justice system fails, right?
Yes.
So yeah.
I just want to say hello to 2 people in the chat.
Sure.
Hello, Roy. Roy is one of my neighbors out here. I met him out here.
Hey, Roy.
My board game group. And War Duke, he's one of only 2 members of my channel. Thank you so much for doing that. And he's been
War.
From the beginning. And I've been trying to get War Duke to come on and talk because this guy loves his comics. So War Duke, you still got an invitation. Oh, and Heroinberg. Wow.
Hey, what's up, Heroinberg?
Keep comics barbaric. Heroinberg, I have a special place in my heart for those of you who don't know. Heroinberg was one of the first people to reach out to me, sent me a comic. I was like, wow, I'm a celebrity now. I have 86 subscribers, and Heroinberg sent me and came on and we talked. You know, one of the first people to take a risk on me. Heroinberg does his own comics.
Yep.
I have a live chat with him. You can check it out and go to Heroinberg. I know I'm going to say it wrong. But Heroinberg, look up Heroinberg on the internet, and you can buy. He's got 3 comics out now. A lot of fun.
Well,
he does like live. Well, not live, but he does like full costume episodes on the internet. Yep. Why I can't talk today? Thank you, Roy.
Heroinberg has
I just wanted to thank everybody for showing up.
Absolutely, yeah. And you know,
and check out Roland's comic. I can't talk tonight.
Well, I don't know how you do it, but if they're asking questions on there, I'm happy to answer those as well.
Ask away.
Yeah. Well, what I wanted to say, Heroinberg has a special place in my heart as well.
Oh,
because,
you know him already.
I do. Okay. Because I think it was last year. I have to go back and look up. You know how time is. Heroinberg got me to be a guest in my maybe it's 2 years ago, the very first ever show in the entire state of Pennsylvania. He got me up to Three Rivers Comic Con in Pittsburgh.
Oh, cool.
2 years ago, and it was my first ever appearance in the entire state of Pennsylvania, and I had a blast. So I am appreciative to Heroinberg for that.
A comic convention?
Yes, a comic convention.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, cool.
Yeah, he knew
and Marvin works with him out in Pittsburgh. He does a comic called The Edge, which I think, you know, good, solid comic. You know, I got right over here on my spinner rack. You know,
sweet. Oh, you got a spinner rack, huh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Here, I'll show you.
Man, I'm so jealous. Oh, look at that beautiful thing.
Yeah. The only disappointment is it doesn't say. It says, "Hey, comics." It doesn't say,
Hey, kids.
Yeah. But, you know, I'll print one out and put it up
I was going to say, you can print your own, right?
Yeah. I got that from Diamond Comics. They wouldn't sell it to me. They would only sell it to comic stores. So I went to my local comic store, paid for it in advance, and then, you know,
Nice. Was that new?
I
mean, is that like something new, or was that a long time ago?
This is probably 2 years old.
Oh.
Yeah, I moved in this house 3 years ago. Took about a year to fix up the basement.
Will they still do that? Because maybe my comic shop can do that for me.
Oh yeah. They can get you one.
Okay, cool.
It's like $300, you know.
Woo, that's a lot for a spinner rack.
I know, but it's something I've always wanted. You know, yes. I wanted that, and I wanted a popcorn machine. So I got a popcorn machine over there. When the zombie apocalypse happens, my wife and I could come down the basement, turn all the lights off upstairs, stay down here with lights on, and I bought a solar powered, generator, and we could make popcorn and watch TV.
Sweet. Now, geographically, where are you?
I'm in New York.
New York, okay.
I'm in Long Island, New York.
Oh, wow, cool. Very cool.
So there's no escape. When the zombie apocalypse happens, it's a bottleneck here. So I just got to hunker down until they get warm.
Hunker in the bunker.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Florida.
Oh, you're in Florida. Okay.
I'm in Florida.
You said you were from Mississippi, then you moved out to California.
Yeah. And then we kind of bounced around Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas.
Yeah, you got the accent. Yeah.
Well, yeah, yeah. While we were after Malibu, we came back, and my wife worked in colleges, and I started teaching and everything. We bounced around till we ended up here. I've been here about 12 years now. So.
Yeah, I just had Chuck Dixon on a couple of days ago.
Oh, I love Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck is good.
Yeah, Chuck's a great guy.
Yeah,
it's hot down here is the only thing I can say.
Yeah, it's hot and humid. I don't mind the heat. I lived in Albuquerque for years, and I don't mind the heat. It's that humidity that kills me. So no offense, I'm never going to Florida.
See, the thing
about you step off the plane and they throw a hot blanket on top of you.
The humidity here is not near as bad as it is in Tennessee.
Oh, really?
I said Tennessee. I mean Mississippi, where I grew up. The humidity
I was in New Orleans
there.
in January, and it was unbearable.
Oh, that's it. God. That's the thing. It's terrible.
Yeah, they still make spinner racks. I think that's why they're expensive. Is that first off, how many comic book stores are left?
Yeah.
And even comic book stores don't really have spinner racks anymore.
No.
You and I are roughly the same age. You remember those spinner racks? You walk into a 7-Eleven. The first thing I saw, at least, was a spinner rack everywhere.
Yep. And that was the first thing I was looking for.
Yeah. Hey, Kids Comics. Hey, Kids.
That's right.
Yeah. So let me ask you then. Obviously, you're a lifelong comic book fan. You wouldn't be doing this if you were. What caught your eye as a kid?
I was a Marvel zombie until
me too. Until the Crisis on Infinite Earth, I wouldn't touch a DC comic.
The same. Yep. I picked up. I was a what's up, Pops?
Hey, Pops. This is Pops, huh?
This is Pops. Yep.
Yeah. Aptly named Madness with Pops.
That's right.
Yeah. Wow. Everybody. Herrenberg. Pops.
Stop that. I work with a guy who says the same thing. And I'm like, I don't know everybody. He goes, yeah, you do. I'm convinced you know everybody.
Yeah.
Shoot, what was I saying?
So you said the Crisis got you into DC. Yeah. Just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
so
I got the odd DC comic. I don't know about you, but like we'd go on a long trip and my dad would give me a comic because there were 7 kids. And if one kid would just shut up and read a comic book, you know what I mean? Then he only had to deal with 6 kids. That's
right. That's right.
Yeah.
I was Avengers and Spider-Man were my go-tos. And then of course, that led to buying Captain America, buying Iron Man, buying Marvel Team Up.
So good.
That whole sort of family. And I bought in high school. Well, actually, just after high school, right in college, and this was pre-crisis. I tried to get she was my girlfriend then, but she's my wife now. I was trying to get her into comics, right? Oh, you should read these. You should read these. So I started buying Teen Titans New Teen Titans and Gru for her. Because she would read those, and of course I'm buying them, so I'm reading them too. So I'm like, just George Perez, Marv Wolfman. So I had to, of course, go back and buy the back issues because we started around issue 12, something like that. Yeah, bought the back issues into the New Teen Titans. And then it wasn't until Crisis that I started buying a bunch of DC books.
Yeah, I got to say, my first 2 DC comics that I collected religiously were the Legion of Superheroes, the Paul Levitz, Keith Giffen, and then the New Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And then the Crisis came, and I was, buying everything DC just like I was buying everything Marvel. You know,
same here.
We could afford them back then.
That's right. Yeah, we could. I miss that's one of the things that when people ask me about, you know, comics and fixing the industry and all that kind of thing, you know, they go off on all kind of tangents and you know, some of which I agree with, some of which I don't. But I think the biggest thing here that we need to fix is distribution. And my reason is this, okay?
I just want to say one thing, because this is going to be a discussion here. Warduke just got back from his comic book store. He just ordered a spinner rack. Warduke, send me a picture of your spinner rack. People have been sending me pictures of the spinner rack, and I put them in my community notes. So again, you're talking about this distribution. I just wanted to get that out of the way, because this is one of my hot button issues.
Yeah. Distribution or
I don't want to pepper your argument. Yeah.
No. So the reason I believe this is that when you and I were buying comics, okay, when we first started buying comics, spinner racks were everywhere. Okay, right. You could go to the grocery store, you go to the gas station, you go to the bookstore, wherever you went, you saw spinner racks. So they were there, and they could be an impulse buy.
Right.
Today, if you want a comic book, you got to get in your car and drive to the comic book store with the express intent to buy a comic. You don't just find yourself in oh, look, we're in a comic shop. You don't, right. That doesn't happen.
That's what Chuck Dixon was saying this. When he says, he goes, anybody who walks into a comic book store is already a comic book fan.
They meant to be there.
Right. So nobody just wakes up in the morning and just says, you know what, I'm going to get a tuna fish sandwich. And you know what, I think I'm going to buy a comic book.
Nope.
It doesn't happen. Yeah.
But if you can put them if you can get them back in convenience stores.
Well, first off, at work, I'm a construction worker. There's a lot of guys, when I tell them I'm into comics and I do a comic book YouTube channel, they're surprised that comic books still come out.
Still around. Yeah. Where do you get them?
And these are guys that liked comics.
Yeah. Because they don't know where you're getting them, right?
Green Lantern. I love, whatever. I love this. I love that. I love this. They still make comics, and these guys still interested. They watch all the Marvel movies. They watch all the DC movies.
They just
these guys talk to me about Jim Henson. They got this nerd this going on in their heads, and they can't find comics.
Yeah, and so I'm not opposed to the direct
market at all. There you go. He just paid $400 for a spinner rack.
Wow. Yeah.
So I got it just in time.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, so a lot of people when they hear me say this, they think, oh, well, you want the comic shops to die, and I'm like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I think the comic shops are great. I think they need to be there for collectors. I think they need to be there to feed the back issue market. I think comic shops are important to what we do.
Yeah, I love comic shops.
I do too. I love comic shops.
But unfortunately, there's 2 comic shops near me. I haven't been in either one of them in a year. Yeah. Because why? I have all the back issues I want for the most part, and new comics that are coming out aren't interesting to me.
No.
And I like there's these 2 old guys. I call them Statler and Waldorf when I'm not there. They just sit there and they bicker and they pet this beautiful cat. My wife likes to go in because they have this beautiful cat. But I've seen everything this store has to offer.
Right.
And it's a shame. I'm a comic book guy. Look, I'm surrounded by comic books. And I don't even go to comic book stores.
Yeah. And to me, that's part of what the problem is that
absolutely. I told you this is one of my hot button issues.
Yeah. and I think it's a shame. Where I have found over the last couple of years, we do the Kickstarters. So we have the Kickstarters, and then we have comic shows. I do a lot of comic shows. Florida has comic shows like every other weekend, right? I do a lot of comic shows in the area, and I find that comic shows have changed a lot since I first started going in the late 80s, right? So it was when I first started going in the late 80s, it was mostly, us dudes, but now that I go,
I smoke a cigarette over a long box of comics.
Right, exactly.
I got a cigar. And then when you make it, you give him the money. He opens up a cigar box.
Right.
They don't have a register. They don't. That's the way it used to be.
Yeah. Now they got the electronic things. You just tap your card and But I see a lot of families at shows today. Moms. Moms and dads with their kids. A lot of times they're in costume. And so the convention scene has changed. But what I've found is that a lot of them are interested in comics. Well, oh, what do you got? And I find that very, very encouraging. Again, the part of the problem is they never would have seen me had they not gone to the convention for fun, right? We were just out here. We wanted to put on some costumes and have some fun. Well, if I can get my comics into a Wawa, do you know what a Wawa is?
Yeah.
I
got family in Jersey.
Yeah, if I get my comics into a Wawa, then suddenly everybody's getting gas at Wawa.
Wawa is like a 7-Eleven in New Jersey. Good coffee.
Yeah, and so if they could be there on a spinner rack where folks could come in, I just need some gas. Oh, what's this? Let me try this one too. Flop it down with their candy bar and their Coke. I just think they're not anywhere to be an impulse buy. Right. And again, I don't know the answer. I don't know. You're saying, well,
do you have
I don't know how to fix it. But
do you have Bolla markets by you?
What?
Bolla, Bolla.
No,
I don't know what is going on, but in the past 2 years, it's like they're popping up everywhere. Like every gas station is turning into a Bolla market, and when you go into a Bolla market, it's a gas station. They got like a Nathan's stand. They got a little Pizza Hut stand. Sometimes they have a Burger King stand, and then you can get like chips and soda and stuff. They got really clean bathrooms, at least the ones I've seen. And then pay for the gas and lottery tickets. There should be a comic book. Somebody's got to get some deal with the Bolla market people and get a comic book spinner rack.
Absolutely.
In one of them. Because you stop in there to get gas. Dad wants a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, hey, look at this Green Lantern. And they can't be $7 an issue either. You know what I mean? Because Dad's not going to pay for that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So just reprints. That's what they reprint some old Green Lanterns. Throw them in
I bought a lot of reprints as a kid. That's how
I just picked up a comic. I didn't realize it, but this is a reprint.
Really? Yeah.
Oh
yeah, John says. See, I had like almost a whole run of Marvel Tales, and those were just Spider-Man reprints.
They were earlier Spider. Yeah, Marvel's greatest comics was Fantastic Four reprints.
Fantastic Four, and once I realized what they were, I went and bought them all because I couldn't afford the back issues, right? But I wanted to read all those stories.
Right. Yeah.
100%.
And it was cool because they had different covers too. So even if you were a collector, you wanted them because they had new John Romita covers or Jack Kirby covers or Buscema covers.
I remember Marvel Super Action, which I was an Avengers fan. They had the same covers, but they would do something because the masthead was different, the logo was different, and all that. And sometimes they would recolor them so they were slightly different, but it was the same artwork. Just it looked you wouldn't mistake it for the same book.
Yeah, they did the same thing with the Submariner reprints, Tales to Astonish, the second series.
Yeah,
because I remember the Submariner and Triton. That's one of my favorite
right.
comics.
Oh, that's a great.
I discovered that in a reprint, and then of course I had to go get that. The originals as an adult, that's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
Submariner fighting Triton. How do you, as a kid, how do you not want to get that comic?
Exactly. Yeah. So, again, in for me, the summing up is that they have to be to fix it. Right. We've got to get them back somehow, some way where they can be an impulse buy for people, not me and you.
Right. Right. And then, you get the impulse buy, and then that'll direct them to the. I used to be against Pandora. I'm like, you just paying $5 a month, and nobody's going to buy records. But I gotta say, I've been buying albums for the first time, over the past year because I got Pandora. I'm like, oh, this is a great band. I want to get their album. I must, bands that I never heard of. I was like, oh wow, I put in a Black Sabbath station. I'm into Black Sabbath. And now they're playing another band called Freedom Hawk. I was like, this band is great. And, I bought a couple so I think that's what the spinner racks in Bolla market. Somebody talk to the Bolla market people. I imagine it's got to be some conglomeration.
I'm going to write that down. Bolla. I've never heard of
I don't know if it's down by you, but it's by everywhere on Long Island. All the gas stations are just slowly turning into, and they're great because they got coffee, they got food, they got, clean bathrooms. They got a Tim Hortons in them. That's what gets me. That's my coffee brand.
Okay.
I married a Canadian woman. Yeah, and Roy lives at Roy's the tycoon over here. Roy, there we go. The other business I want to start is I want to make little replicas of medieval weapons, like a little metal bastard sword, a little metal long sword, to sell to people who are into D&D,
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Just little, and then you get like a little weapon rack and you could put them on there. I got a lot of ideas to make businesses, but I got no startup capital. Right to the corporate and be the guy. And you never know. You never know. I've been holding off on this comment. I was waiting for a lull to bring this up. Oh, I hit the wrong button. Can you talk about the different titles that Silverline offers?
Sure. So the fun thing about this is we started doing the Kickstarters again. I think my first one was in 14, which failed, and then I did one in 15, and then we kind of kicked into high gear. We have done just over the last 3 years 45 comics, I think. So the way we pitch Silverline is we are a genre-spanning independent comic and graphic novel publisher.
Oh, that's awesome.
I mean, we do some superheroes, we do some science fiction, we do some horror. Let me just kind of run down some of our titles. First, I'll start with the ones that I write. Trumps is the one I'm taking to comic shops in February, where I'm getting in the catalog now and getting into in shops in February. Fingers crossed that goes well. And Trumps is a science fiction superhero story based on playing cards. So there are 4 kingdoms at war: hearts, clubs, diamonds, and spades. Only one kingdom can hold the seat of power, and that kingdom is called Trumps. And when we open the story in the first issue, the diamonds and the clubs are at war, trying to see who's going to be Trumps. We're trying to put together a playing card deck with it.
That would be cool.
Yes, it would be very cool. We're working on it. I hadn't got that to happen yet, but we're trying to.
I don't know if you saw, but I can't remember her name, but she has a comic called a Pale Horse.
Oh yeah. Lori.
Did you see? Yeah, Lori, and I'm gonna butcher the name, so I won't say it. But I will say Lori C.
Yeah, Lori C.
And she has cards that you could buy as part of her campaign, and they are like every campaign you get one card. So I just think that's for completionists like me. I'm like, I got the ace. And each character is featured on the artwork on the card. I think that is brilliant.
That is sweet. Now we've done some trading cards. We did a few trading cards for.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that is Kevin West did that art.
That is cool.
Yeah. And then this is Dean Zachary did this one.
Cat and Mouse Widowmaker.
Yeah, Cat and Mouse is the title of the comic. Widowmaker's this character here. See on the back, then we have that.
You did Widowmaker?
I did actually. The one from Malibu.
Yeah, I have those comics too. Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew that was familiar. Yeah.
Yep, that was me. I wrote those. Jimmy Palmiotti did the artwork for it. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I think that's why I picked it up. Sorry.
Yeah.
I picked it up for Jimmy Palmiotti.
No.
Whatever reason you picked it up.
Listen, you picked it up, right? Now, what I will be upset with is if you tell me you didn't even read it.
No, every comic I buy, I have to read.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
Hey, check this out. You want to see something?
I don't find the rest of my cards right now. I just
over here. These are my unread comics.
Wow. That's quite a stack.
Well,
I don't feel so bad about my stack now.
Well, it's going to get worse. I have about 22 more long boxes of unread comics.
Unread?
Yeah. So every day I try to make myself read at least 5 comics a day.
Yeah.
If you watch my channel, I'm actually making videos of my unread comics because my database crashed and I lost all my comics, so I'm rescanning them. I got
right.
all my comics, and as I finish a box, I do a short video for just why not? People seem to like it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, if after enough time passes, you'll add some Silverline comics to that stack.
Sure.
So that's Trumps. That's the first one. The next one I'll tell you about is Cat and Mouse. So Cat and Mouse ran in the late 80s, early 90s with Malibu. Ran for about 2 years. We had 18 issues. We decided in this iteration of Silverline, what we're not really looking at extended series because those are tough to sell.
Yeah.
And so we're doing, like, even for Cat and Mouse, we're going to do a series of miniseries, right? So we just completed the first 4 issue, the first miniseries of Cat and Mouse. And I've already got the first issue of the next one done. But this one, this story of Cat and Mouse is basically they take on human trafficking. It's a story of a guy who gets a telephone call from his ex-fiance, and she says, "Hey, my kid sister ran away. Would you go get her and bring her home?" Well, it's his ex-fiance, so he doesn't really want to do it, but he's studying to be a police officer. So he says, "Well, all right, well, let me see what I can do." So he goes to New Orleans. The story is set there, right? So he goes to New Orleans only to find out that the kid's sister's been caught up in a human trafficking ring, led by Widowmaker, by the way, in a human trafficking ring. So he has to figure out how to get her out of the human trafficking ring and get her home. And yes, there are ninjas involved.
Okay.
So that's the story of Cat and Mouse. And for the foreseeable future, I've already got the next 2 miniseries planned. Those also deal with human trafficking, just, you know, different bad guys, right? I'm working on another one called Silverline Team Up. That's not how it started, but that's what it ended up being.
Excuse me.
And this was the first issue. I write that so I know that this is my copy to just throw around the office.
The Fury,
right?
That's the Golden Age character.
Yep. She's now public domain.
Correct. Yeah.
And
Billy I did something with her too.
What's that?
I said Billy Tucci just did something with the Fury too. Yeah.
So I did something with her. I was the first one to do something with her after she did it. I did a miniseries in the 90s with Malibu. Just a 4-issue miniseries. And then she ended up, that character ended up cameoing in The Protectors. I don't know if you read The Protectors at all, but she ended up cameoing in The Protectors for a couple of issues. And we were going to do more with her, but we just never got the chance. So she's public domain now. And right. so I brought her into this story. And this has got some fantastic art by a new artist, a young artist who is just going to be, he's going to go places. We even kind of poked fun. Let me show you this. We even kind of poked fun of 90s comics with a bunch of belts, gadgets, and all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah, that looks like a Rob Liefeld creation. Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. And that was the whole point. And so he goes into battle.
What's his name? The guy.
That's Champion, right?
Okay.
So it's featuring Champion and Miss Fury, right? And so he's Champion. As you see, he had all those belts and gadgets on, but he's not going to end up that way. That was just part. It was a goofy part of the story, right? So this is a Silverline Team Up. And basically the gist behind this story is he's being hunted by the mafia for not completing a job that they assigned him to do, but when they assigned him the job, he didn't know it was the mafia, so he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to do that," right? And so the mafia are now hunting him, and so the story opens up. These guys are after him, chasing him, trying to capture him, and Miss Fury gets wrapped up in the whole thing as well. And so yeah, it's a story, and part of the intent of the story is to get them down to New Orleans so that they can start playing in the cat and mouse world.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
I got another one called Bear. It's spelled B-E-A-H. And some people who look at it, Northerners will often say Bia. I'm like, no. If it was a good, imagine the sheriff from Smokey and the Bandit. I'm gonna kill me a bear.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
That's the way I imagine it said, Bear. Right. And Bear it's a different kind of story. It's a future in a kid's toy box in which the kid is gone, right? The idea came to me. I have 2 kids. They're not kids anymore. They're grown. But it came to me when they were young because we used to watch a lot of cartoons. We used to watch a lot of Winnie the Pooh. And one time I'm like, I wonder what happens to Pooh and Piglet and all them when Christopher Robin grows up, right?
Yeah. And
so that's kind of how this story began. And so the first issue, we're almost done with issue 2. The first issue it starts off, the kid is gone. There are no laws anymore. Woohoo! We're free, right? We can do whatever we want. But the kid has told Bear that he's going to come back and get him to put him away some other time. And so Bear's trying to get everybody to get ready, right? So it's just kind of a fun, and it's very much a cartoon style.
Okay.
So it's very, very different. I wish I'd show it to you. I know I'll be happy to. Well, you don't do PDFs, but I'll be happy to send you some images if you want to see them.
Yeah. You can put images up on this if you want.
On
your computer.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, I can easily grab. I got a cover folder.
Well, let's talk about it. He very graciously offered to send me PDFs of his comics. And I was like, I'm sorry, I even if Alan Moore sent me PDFs, I'm not going to read. I can't read a comic book on my computer. I'm just physically incapable of doing it. I need a comic in my hand to look at, to hold, to flip the pages, to turn my seat, to get comfortable, So, but thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's see
Nothing
here. Let
personal,
me share this. No. I don't take it personal.
Oh, okay. So we got to, is it okay if I put this on the screen?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to, let's see here. How can I get this to be larger?
I don't know.
Oh, what did I do? Oh, well, here, hold on. Let me share something different. Let me share this. And this should work. I opened all kind of windows that I didn't mean to open. Share screen. Let me share this. All right. Now, you should be able to see that, I think.
Okay. Yep.
There we go. So this is Bear. That was the first. Oh, it's not showing the whole thing. Let me. There we go. We had a couple of covers for that one. There's that one that you're looking at, and then there's this one. This one was done by. The cover was done by Aaron Humphreys. Okay. And then our Kickstarter cover looked almost exactly like this. Was done by Dean Zachary. So, like I said, it's very different. Let me show you since I'm doing this. Let me show you a couple of
Kickstarter exclusives work. Like, do people?
They do actually. They do. Yeah, but I made a mistake, right? So one of the things that I did is I would get and I'll tell you my mistake. I would get a different art for for this one right here, Kickstarter exclusive, right? My problem now is I can't use this cover at all anymore. And this is why we started doing the foils, because I can offer the foil as the exclusive, but I can still use that art as a regular cover, right?
Okay.
Let me go ahead and show you Trumps. This is the first issue of Trumps that will be out here. I love this first cover, by the way.
Roy says he enjoys PDFs on the iPad. Is the PDF form? So does PDF sell on Kickstarter as well?
Yeah. We get probably about 1/3 to 1/4 of our backers are digital. Yeah. So this is the first.
I like that cover.
Yeah, I do too. And it's probably one of my favorite. This artist is Anthony Pereira.
Oh, that's cool.
Yep. Oh, he's very good.
And the coloring is good too.
Yeah, that's Sid Vin Blue. And then one of our alternate covers for this one was Stephen Butler, who we talked about a little bit earlier. And this is sort of our homage to the Teen Titans, right?
Yeah.
We have, let's see here. Now, one of my T-shirts that we made, this is for the 3rd issue right here. And this has become one of our T-shirts.
Oh, yeah, I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And then this is one of the ones that I wish I could use again. This is Steven's cover. This is an homage to Avengers, I want to say 140.
Yeah,
right?
151.
Well, there you go. This would have been the Vision, right? Iron Man, Captain America.
Supreme, right?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly it. Yep. But because this was the Kickstarter exclusive, I can't use this one again. But I love this cover.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So that's Trump's. Let me show you some Cat and Mouse. This is our first issue to Cat and Mouse. First.
And are all of these still available? Do you have a store that you?
Well, so the way we do them is all of the back issues are available through our Kickstarters. Okay. So you pledge to any physical reward. You can't get them through the digital, but any physical reward you can pledge to just one of the physical rewards, the smallest one available, and then you can order a whole bunch of back issues. Right?
So add-ons, yeah, okay.
Yep, absolutely add-ons, and it's not unusual that we have someone say, "Hey, look, I just discovered you guys. I'm supporting this Kickstarter. I want all of your back issues." We get about one of those per Kickstarter, and that's always kind of fun.
That's good.
Yeah, and so that's one of the other covers for the first issue. I really love this cover for the second issue here. And then another one of my favorites here is for number 3. And let's see here. And then this is number 4 that we just shipped these about a week ago.
Okay.
So that's the cover for the final issue of that miniseries. And I'm hoping to launch the new miniseries early next year. I'm not sure exactly when, but early next year. Let's see here. What other? Oh, I showed you Silverline Team Up, but I did have. Let me show you one of the other covers for Silverline Team Up because Stephen Butler did it, and this is one of the alternate covers for that one.
Oh wow!
Yeah, that's a sweet one.
Yeah, that's a great cover. Yeah.
Yeah, and let's see here. Then Switchblade that I mentioned earlier. This is a cover for one of the covers for the first issue of Switchblade.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, here's another. I like this one. This one became one of our T-shirts. Just the cutout of this character right here. So that's the first issue, and then this is the second issue. So I see Travis's question. I am working on an omnibus. I will tell you though, Travis, my thoughts right now are the only way it's going to be available is to back one of my Kickstarters. So here's part of the problem I'm having with this. As you know, that I didn't scan or keep any of that artwork from the 80s and 90s. I just didn't think about it. Right. I had probably, so we did, it was a total of 18 printed issues, but it was really 19 issues long because one of the issues was double sized. And so you're looking I can't do the math, but 19 times 24? Yeah. I probably only had in my possession about 25 pages. I know 2 of the biggest cat and mouse art collectors, and I was probably able to put together another probably 200 pages or so. The rest of it we had to scan from printed comics. And so our biggest challenge has been going through those and remastering those, right? So we have to scan them and then just digitally work with them so that they don't look like total crap. But I am working on that. And matter of fact, I will show you this because I happen to have it right here. I will show you my working cover for that. This is one of I'm thinking about 2 covers. This is one of my working covers for it. So
I was gonna try to put yours.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Huh? Well, looks like this is the best I could do.
There you go. Yeah. So so that's what I'm looking at to have as a cover for the omnibus, which I am working on, but is not ready yet. So I'm hoping to have this ready by the time I launch the next Cat and Mouse Kickstarter.
Yeah.
And I might use this artwork too.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, this is from an old ad that went to well, actually, this is before we went to, you can see it says Top Comics. That's when we tried to do this in 1987.
Wow.
Yeah. So so yeah, I might use this art as a cover as well. So I am working on it, Travis. It is going to happen, but I've still got about half of the issues to finish remastering, just because the scans have got to be adjusted.
So what do you got to do? You got to take the staples apart of an old comic and scan them flat and everything.
That's exactly what I did. And like I said, I had there's a smattering of pages that I have access to the original art, because I know the people who I know the two biggest cat and mouse art collectors, and they very generously scanned them for me, the original art. And so I've got I have some really good scans of the artwork of some of the original art, but there's still enough of it that I had to scan from the book. So yeah, I just tore all the books apart. I had a copy of all the books. I tore all the books apart and got really high resolution scans. And we've been working to. I've had some help, but we've been working to digitally remaster those.
Okay.
And fingers crossed. I'm hoping that when I do Cat and Mouse #1, Cat and Mouse Vipers #1, which is my working title for the next miniseries, I'll have the omnibus available for that Kickstarter.
Okay, cool.
That's my plan.
That's great. Yeah, that is cool. Yeah, I'm good. I mean, I'm impressed. You got a whole slate of comics.
Yep.
And you how many Kickstarters have you run?
This is number 27.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I thought you were going to say like 4.
No,
yeah, 27.
This is number 27. Yeah.
So you're a pro at this then.
Well, I don't know about a pro, but we've done a few of them. The thing about it is I don't get, Brian Pulido numbers. We don't do, listen, I love Brian. So what I'm about to say, I do not mean this in a disparaging way, but Brian has the 3 B's, which we don't really do. He has boobs, blades, and blood. Right. Yeah. And we try to make what I'm about to say won't surprise you. I try to make all of my comics, even the ones that I'm editing, right, the ones that I'm publishing, if I don't write them, I want them to be like Marvel in the 1970s and 80s, right? I want them to be smart, but I want you to be able to hand it to your 12-year-old nephew, right? But I want you to be able to enjoy it as well. So
do you mind if I show something?
No, please do.
Because
that's nice.
This is the rough layout for the comic I'm working on. It's going to be called Heroic Tales. This is issue #1, and the character he acts like a Superman type, but he's far from it. So that's going to be a problem with him in a later story where people realize he's not really as. But I want you to read my comic and be like, wow, I could have got this on the shelf the same day that I picked up, Fantastic Four and New Teen Titans and Legion of Superheroes. Yep. And I want it to be family friendly, because I do think that
that's me. Same here.
I think that's a trap to, again, nothing against Brian Pulido. This guy's going to sell.
I love Brian.
He's a freaking millionaire, but
yeah.
But I don't want to. Have gratuitous nudity and cursing and I
don't want them to be.
You're gonna see some sexy chicks. Don't get me wrong. The guy robbing the bank has 3 sexy girls with them,
and there's nothing wrong with that, right? I mean, they were sexy back in the 70s as well.
Yeah, you tell me you didn't look at Starfire a little too long, Back in the
yeah, right. Well, and again, that was but it was done with taste, I guess.
Well, my point is, I think if we don't make all ages comics, the comic fans are just going to be guys our age and older.
That's right, and we're going to eventually die.
Right.
And
Can you imagine, like, comic books are an American art form, jazz is an American art form, and baseball is an American. Can you imagine if there was baseball fans, they didn't care about young fans, just they aged out, and then there's no baseball.
No baseball.
Baseball, they're having camps for little kids to play baseball and watch. You know what I mean? I don't know if jazz is recruiting kids, but
let me. I'm going to show you something else.
But I think comic books are failing the younger audience.
I agree.
And I will also say that the best comics that ever came out when comics were all ages.
I agree.
Stan Lee, he used big words and he said, kids are smart. They'll figure it out,
So here's something else that I've started doing in my comics. I don't know that you'll be able to see it,
But the editorial notes on the bottom.
This little thing right here. Those are called bottoms.
Okay.
And I've been putting those on there. Because I remember I used to love those, right? Because I would be reading the Spider-Man and it would say, Iron Man loses his armor, and Iron Man, I'm like, what? Oh no, I need to know.
That was Marvel under the Roy Thomas years.
Roy, I love Roy. Roy, I don't think Roy gets enough credit for Marvel. I think he should have a lot more credit than he gets.
Yeah, I love Roy Thomas.
Yep.
Roy, come on my channel.
Right? Yeah, yeah. So for me, I think I want our comics to be, and I know not everybody's going to like everything we do. I get it. That's fine.
Yeah, you don't. Yeah, that goes without saying. Yeah.
But
you will like mine. Everybody, you will like mine. Maybe not Silverline. No,
but my goal is to, what I want to happen is that when you finish reading one of our comics, I want you to go, that was fun. Yeah, I'd kind of like to know what happens, next issue. In all of our miniseries, what I direct our writers to do is that, right? So I've got a 4-issue miniseries, or this thing's 4 issues miniseries, right? I want issue 1, issue 2, and issue 3 to all have a good classic cliffhanger, right? So like and I can show you this. So in this one, right, they're fighting this dude here, right? And of course, in an homage to Spider-Man, the classic water tower falls on him, right? And then it goes kersplush, and then where the heck did he go? Right? To be continued, right? So
how long does it take between issues? How long am I hanging on that cliff?
It varies. I will say this. It really does vary from title to title, from artist to artist. I am at the mercy, as you very well know, I'm at the mercy of the artist, and some artists produce work a little bit faster than others. Yeah. So I at this point, I don't promise Kickstarter. I don't say, oh well, if you back this Kickstarter for Cray number 2 and switch to number 3, this is the final one, you're going to get number 3 within 3 months. I'm not going to. We're just going to, whenever we get it kickstarted, is
if you do that.
Yeah. So so we're working on number 3 already. I mean, and it's almost finished. But I'm not going to say, oh, we'll kickstart that one in this month. Nope, I'm not going to do that. We're working on them. We're working on all of them. We're trying to get them made, trying to get them finished. And we have a newsletter. I encourage everybody to sign up for the newsletter, because that's where I keep everybody. And in fact, at the bottom of my newsletter, I literally I have a thing that says status report. Here's where this issue is. Here's where this issue and all the books that we're doing.
Yeah, transparency. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
and good. Say number 3 is being penciled. Number Silverline team up. Number 2 is being colored. Number 3 is being penciled. So I let and our newsletters come out about twice a month ish. Okay. ish. Yeah. And so I just try to have an update on there, so that whoever's subscribed to our newsletters will always kind of know where we're at. That's and cool. Sometimes I sneak some artwork on there so that the newsletter viewers get to see.
Get people excited.
Yep. Like the newsletter folks are the only folks that have seen any of the artwork for the next Cat and Mouse series. I showcase some of a young artist by the name of Angelo, but I showcase some of his art in our newsletter, cool. And so I'm excited about that. I was going to show you what I brought back a letters page in Cat and Mouse as well.
Yeah, I want to put a letters page. Yep. I want to put like a stand soapbox kind of thing.
Yep.
I don't want to talk about my comic. This is your hour, but I it seems like we're on the same wavelength.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Comics, comics should be fun, and they should be accessible to all, I think.
And I think the aesthetic I want to go for is, like I said, a Bronze Age Marvel.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Copy the best.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I don't want, so and the thing I have to be careful when I say that is, like, I don't want you to I'm not trying to reproduce 70s because I don't want you to feel like, oh, this is old. No. I want you to feel that it has the spirit that the 70s has, but with a modern approach.
Right. Yeah.
You know,
there'll be story. I got a story about there's a flashback story. It's gonna be about Y2K. There's gonna be a story about cell phones. You know what I mean? Yep. So it's firmly in the present. Yeah. But I want you to feel like the imagination, wonder, and amazement that I felt reading Avengers. You know.
Yeah. Well, and this is
because I love them. You know,
I haven't said this anywhere else. Okay.
I'm sorry. I was talking because I don't shut up.
No. It's okay. I was going to say I haven't said this anywhere else. So, okay. So only the people watching this will know this.
I just haven't.
Number 3 of this issue actually features. I want to say features. We don't get graphic or anything, but there's a school shooting, and so we didn't have those when I was a kid. You know, so it's something that is part of what happens in this story, but that's in issue 3, right? So again, we're gonna. It's not gonna be graphic or anything like that, but it will affect the characters,
right?
In the same way Gwen Stacy's death affected, Peter Parker and family. Captain Stacy's death affected him, So
yeah, seems like Captain Stacy's the only guy who stays dead in comics. Like I wouldn't even
right. I know.
That's because he was forgotten about, right? Even Gwen's back,
Yeah, not me. I didn't forget him.
Yeah.
Take care of her, Pete.
Yeah. So yeah, I tried to do a hard limit of an hour because I know from personal experience, if people click on a video and they see it's 2 hours long, they just skip it.
Right.
But an hour, people will watch. So we'll end here. And anything you want to say? Anything?
Thank you for having me on.
It's been a pleasure. I know I kind of screwed up on the time and confused you, but you know what? That's what I do. I confuse people.
That's quite all right. I told my wife when I jumped in, I said the only thing that does means I get to eat an hour later.
To tell you the truth, that's kind of why I was glad that you did it, because I'm kind of hungry.
Yeah.
I take the train home from work today. I had to drive, and I was stuck in traffic for 2 hours.
I'll end with the way we always end our streams, with the Make Mine Silverline.
Oh, cool. I like it.
Yeah, it's a wristband here. What we gave out. We had about 2,000 of these made up, and we've handed out about I want to say about 1,700 at this point.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's the stuff I wonder about, like doodads, T-shirts. What little what do they call that? Swag.
Well, I will say this: we ordered these pre-COVID, and they were because we looked at ordering some more. They've really shot up in price, because I gave for those, if I'm not mistaken, I gave like 4 cents a piece for them, right? And so you can hand out 4 cents a piece, but I think the last time we looked at them, they were like 20 cents a piece, and I'm like, that's the way. Number one, I can't afford that. That's a lot of money, So
you give somebody 4 pennies, but you're not going to give them a quarter.
That's right. Because we're trying to hand these out right and left to get people to come up. Hey, you want a free wristband? Come up and look at our comics. And do you
have success at the comic conventions? You bring all your comics and people buy them.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You see, that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking of. I'm actually thinking of, like, when I get my comics, I'm going to call up the local news. Why not? Yep. What are they going to do? That's been my philosophy since I started this channel. Just talk to people, and the worst they can do is say no.
Absolutely.
Local Long Island guy makes his own comic,
Yes, absolutely.
They expect a little kid, and it's me.
and the thing about it is, they may not run it exactly when you want them to run it, because they'll need a slow news day. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's a.
But I will be ordering way too much in the hopes that people get interested in the long run.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. The only other thing I would like to add is please go. I know you had the link up there earlier, so please go.
I got the Kickstarter. Links are in the description. Everybody,
please go check out the Kickstarter. We've got some beautiful foils that are only available on the Kickstarter, and all of the back issues. If you're like, hey, that cat and mouse sounded interesting, or that Trump sounded interesting. I like that. Yeah. You can go and easily add those as add-ons. And so let me encourage you, if you've never heard of us, give us a shot, give us a try.
Yeah. Why not? The guy loves comics. That's my whole is it reason that whatever? I can't even think of the right word, that French word. But
that
my
French
whole
word, reason they
trot. How's that?
Yeah, that works for me.
It's to talk to people who love comics.
Yeah.
Like I'll talk to the Chuck Dixons, the J.M. Pieces, and I'll talk to guys who subscribe to my channel. It's just about talking. Yeah, I want to share this enthusiasm about comics. That's why I'll.
Well, I love comics.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'll go out of my way to put people on and talk. Rising tide floats all boats. Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That's absolutely right. I believe in that.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go because we're gonna go get dinner now.
All right. Well, thank you again so much for having me on. I enjoyed it.
And everybody, just at the very least, go check out his Kickstarter. Why not? Help out a fellow comic book guy that just loves the medium and has been doing it. Geez, I didn't even realize you've been doing it since the 90s. That's awesome.
Yep.
All right. But thank you, everybody. I'm gonna get going.